Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be starting a fun writing challenge that my friend Kimmy K is going to do. So go check out her video. She's going to explain all of the details there. I'll have it as a link, a card, and as a link in the description below. But essentially it's a 7-day challenge, at least the way that I'm doing it, because I think she's allowing between 5,000 and 7,000 words in 7 days, but my goal is to write 7,000 words in 7 days. That's the writing challenge. I'm so excited for this video. So right now I'm working on a book called The Ones to Protect, and fun fact, I actually several days ago I did a video talking about this dilemma I was in, and at the time I didn't know what that video was going to be. I was just in a dilemma. I like teaching you guys how to write books and like walking through the process, and sometimes I don't know the answers and I'm trying to figure them out, so I love to show that to you guys so we can figure it out together. And so basically in that video clip I described the book, the story, the dilemma, and all the things, and I've never followed up with it, so I'll play that clip here. So I don't yet know how this video is structured or what it's called, but I've actually reached a dilemma in the book that I'm writing, and I thought I would talk about it and the decisions that I have to make and kind of take you guys through this process, because it's a good how to write a book type thing. So long story short, I'm writing book 5 in my Christian military romantic suspense series, and they're a series of standalone romances, each dealing with a different Navy SEAL on a single team that had this circumstance that happened that kind of ties into the whole series, but they're a series of standalones. You know me, I love doing that. So writing book 5. So as I was building this series and coming up with ideas for it and stuff, I actually earlier, about a couple months ago, stumbled on an old idea that I had a couple years ago, that had a different name and then went through a different name. And so that one, the essential premise of that book was my first attempt at kind of a mystery in the modern day, and I knew the guy was going to be a military dude. I knew he was going to be married to a modern day Lakota woman named Meadow, and I knew they were going to have 5 Lakota children, and I'd actually outlined most of the book, but I got stuck on the solution to the mystery and the twist in the story. But I got stuck on the mystery, the solution, the twist. I came up with ideas and I outlined what I had, but I ended up stopped writing it because I got stuck and I got really bad writer's block. So I left it unfinished. Sorry, my air popped on again, and I've been moving locations. Anyways, so I got blocked. Years passed, I moved on. I think it was like 2022 was the last time I worked on it. I don't remember. So 2023 maybe. So fast forward to a few months ago, maybe 1 month ago, I don't remember. It was around the Kickstarter time it started, so like August maybe, and it's now September 21st, so it's been a couple months. I was thinking about the series, and I knew I had I had all Navy SEALs in my Navy SEAL team built, except for the last one. I left that spot open because I always had that story with Gideon and Meadow in the back of my head. And so I actually went through the outline and I read what I had written in the book, which was it was over 10K already, I want to say. So it was over 10K that I had last written in it and stuff. So I had a pretty good foundation started. I just, again, got stuck on the mystery as it started unfolding, because when you do a mystery, you have to start and kind of build the pieces. You have to start with the solution and kind of work backwards and know all the details and stuff. So anywho, and essentially I'm kind of dancing around the point here, but the main point is that what I was missing in that story was this Navy SEAL team, was the story of the Navy SEALs and what happened with them overseas, and that twist in the series, like the Hearts of Valor series, what was missing. And so I've been writing it again, and it felt really good, and it's so fascinating to me on how God leads and directs me, because I've learned that writer's block for me is just God telling me that the book doesn't need to be written either at all or right now, or he wants me to write something else instead. It's like his way of directing me. If I'm trying to do this, he'll block me and it'll force me to the way he wants me to go, to the story he wants me to write or edit or work on. That's what writer's block for me most of the time is. Other times it is just simply writer's block, and I gotta push through it all the typical ways to do that. So in that case, the reason why I got stuck in that series, I could not write the rest of that book for the life of me. Like, I tried and I felt so horrible because I really loved the book, the story, the kind of the vague concept and stuff of it, but I just could never get past that. And so that's why, is because it was always meant to be part of the Hearts of Valor series, but obviously I had to wait several years before God gave me the idea for the Hearts of Valor series last year in 2024. I wrote books 1 and 2 last year. I wrote books 3 and 4 earlier this year, and obviously I'm planning book 5, and I have a bunch of other books that I'm brainstorming and planning. I've written a short story that a short story prequel for one of the couples, and they're going to come back into play. So I've delved a lot into the series. So I was writing and the Kickstarter happened, so I had to take a little bit of a break, and I've had some breaks and stuff, and then I've had to edit YouTube videos to get ahead in October because I'm having a surgery on October 8th. So, but I've been able, the last like 3 days I've been able, no, scratch that, I didn't write last night because it was Saturday, but before that I'd been writing the last couple of nights, so I've been consistently inspired for this story and everything else. So fast forward to now, as I've been working on this series, I have been mixing the old outline with the new ideas. So making it a part of the series automatically gave me ideas. I'm going to try to keep it vague, but if you don't want spoilers at all, like if you don't want to know anything about the series, then it may be a good idea to click away or jump ahead to this time. But I'm going to try to be vague and not give you guys details. So the one of the concepts of the series, it's military romantic suspense. So the guys are all military, and it's blended romantic and suspense. That's the key. The suspense plot line, so for me, these books, the setting plays a huge role in the suspense, and I found that if I don't have the right setting, the ideas will not come to me. For example, book 1 has a forest chase scene. Like, the setting helps dictate what suspense scenes are going to take place, and that then helps me come up with the plot line. Book 2 is kind of a deserty one. Book 3 is a big city and like mob boss type stuff. Christian POV though. And then book 4 is Alaska, and then the ending of it is kind of in the city with the mob boss stuff as well. So, and I had already ideas for one of them to be a plane hijacking. I have those characters set, that's not changing. The only other one, well, I had other ones, but one of the other ones that I knew I had some wiggle room with was a cruise. We went on a cruise 2023, I think, for our anniversary. And so I was really inspired to do a suspense book, a romantic suspense book in the cruise. I had so many ideas for that. So I thought I was going to give that to the couple that I wrote a short story of, Rhett and Mia. That was a part of a pro-life anthology, and their backstory, their prequel, that takes place years before the series begins, sort of fit that drama. So that's the short story part of that anthology, but I knew they were going to come back into play for this big series. So I knew Rhett and Mia are going to be the couple. They're married, they have kids, they're going to go on this cruise and have the suspense kind of setting there. But I had the idea in this book, because I'm just going to give you guys spoilers, so if you don't want any, click away, jump to this time. I knew in this book that the main guy, Gideon, was going to get kidnapped. That's the opening scene. That was what I was really inspired for to begin with. I've done kidnapping stuff before, so I wanted to make it different. So the idea came to me, what if he actually gets rescued fairly early on, and he's actually, like, some of the focus is on recovering from whatever trauma he endured while he was captured, kidnapped, and his buddy Rhett, having gone through that before, is like, hey, they had already scheduled out this cruise. The other people who were supposed to go with them quit, and you can't refund tickets on a cruise. Typically, once you pay, it gets set in stone. So instead, they just said, hey, give our tickets, since we can't, the friends is like, since we can't go on the cruise, just give our tickets to somebody else who needs it, who could use it. And so Rhett sees that Gideon could really use this. Him and Meadow and the kids are really poor, so Rhett insists that they go on the cruise with them. And that's how, so that became this new idea of what I was gearing towards. So essentially my new plan with this was, you guys can come back now. So my plan was to put Gideon and Meadow and the kids on this cruise and use the old outline with the original mystery and the original case, building up toward that moment when they would go on the cruise with one of the other couples from the series, and the suspense plot line would overlap on the cruise, and then I would split off the couples and go on with Rhett and Mia and their story, and then continue Gideon and Meadow and the kids. So that's what I've been working toward, is just working through the old outline to get to the cruise, right? But here's the thing, I actually outlined the whole book because of the original idea was this was supposed to be its own book. It didn't connect with the cruise, or I didn't have the concept of the series. So this is my dilemma. I've spoken for 9 minutes and just to explain the background to you, so hopefully you guys are still with me. I know I'm long-winded. So my dilemma is this. Technically speaking, I could actually just stick with the original ideas because they were pretty solid to begin with, but at the time I hadn't written a mystery, I hadn't written suspense, I hadn't written very good, like I had romances set in modern day but not suspense, not military suspense, and because of this process, God has actually helped me grow my writing where I'm actually really good now at writing suspense, modern day, you know, suspense plot lines like chases and gunshots and firefights and stuff like that. Like I remember the first one that I tried to write in 2020, my military action book, that didn't have any romance in it really, but that one, it was so hard for me to write all of the scenes because I'm used to fantasy. So you have magic, you have dragons, you've got swords. I cannot write a fight scene with guns at the time. But since then I have learned and grown and learned and grown, and I actually can do that now. So my 2020 self would be shocked because back in 2020, I remember I wrote that one and I wrote a collection of short Christmas stories, and some of them had military books in it. I literally had this thought was, I wish that I could write a series of military, like a series about military guys, but I'm not good enough. I'll never be able to be good enough to write that. I had that thought back in 2020. Fast forward now, 2025, 5 years later, God's helped me grow, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm on book 5. So it's exciting. But so the point is that the original ideas are actually still good enough to stand on their own. Now that I know what I'm doing, I can actually build the original ideas into something good and make it its own, like make it use those. The setting is still unique because we're on the reservation, so it still kind of gives you a different vibe to it. It's very plain, like the Great Plains, the reservation, kind of open wilderness type stuff, but different from the forest in book 1. And then I could save the cruise entirely for Rhett and Mia's story. And use kind of that premise that I was going to combine with Gideon and Meadow and his kids and Rhett and Mia, and just leave that all for Rhett and Mia, which could work. And then use this for Meadow and Gideon, and just stick with the original ideas, just tweaked with, you know, my new insight and my new writing style and what I've learned and how I've grown. Or I could still do what I was going to do and lead, because I'm at that part where it's about ready to split. Either I'm going to stick with the original outline, or we're going to get toward the cruise, which means a lot of the original ideas, if I do the cruise one, a lot of these original ideas are going to be non-existent. I'm going to have to do away with them because it has to change the storyline if they're going to go on the cruise. So that's my dilemma. I could use the original ideas, or I could stick with the new plan and have basically start gearing toward the cruise and just change up how I do things. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I feel like the old ideas were good, I just didn't have the context of the series, and the series context gives me the mystery, the twists, it gives me all the ideas that I need, plus the techniques and the things that I have learned in these years writing this series. It's gonna be so much better than it ever would have been before, when I was just like, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. So I feel like it could work as it is, and save the cruise for Rhett and Mia, use that entire premise for Rhett and Mia, not tweak it with, or whatever, and then tweak, Gideon and Meadow's original story just with the new concepts in my mind, and go from there. And that's my dilemma, and I don't yet know what I'm going to do. So I have, in the outline, keep in mind I'm not following the outline verbatim, in terms of like chapter 9, and this is what goes in chapter 9. You know, I'm using the events, but the chapter numbers aren't necessarily even. So, but in the outline itself, I have 2 chapters before the events are either going to stick with the outline or get away from the original outline. And also the other thing to add on to this is that if I go with the original ideas, I already have it outlined. I just can use what's here, tweak it, and make it better. So that already gives me the ideas in place. I work faster from an outline. If I do the new idea, I don't have that outlined yet. I have a vague plan. But so if I do with the cruise, there's the added element that I'm going to be improvising my way through this thing. And we've learned from last year when I wrote The Cost to Escape for NaNoWriMo. I'll have those here as a card. I think they were a series of shorts. But yeah, so I've learned that, it stresses me out. I can do it, and I did do it, and it's very good when I go back and reread it. Like, it's a good book. It's just the writing part of it. I have no idea what I'm doing, and it stresses me out every day. I improvised book 3 without an outline as well, and I had a blast with that one because the characters kept running away from me. So that one was different. So I don't know if this one's going to be one of those that's difficult, but still hopefully be able to be written to be good, or if the characters are just always going to run away from me and kind of come to me easily. I won't be able to predict that. So if I do the cruise, I'll have to keep that in mind, that I don't have ideas going forward and I don't have an outline. If I go with the old ideas, I at least have an outline as a foundation that I work better if I have an idea already planned out, and then I can take that, tweak that, change it, make it different if I want to, improvise if I want to. But at least the base idea is there, so I'm not going in completely blank. So that's my dilemma. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I haven't made any decisions. This is just giving you guys the background and leading up to the dilemma, and I will check in with you guys later when I actually make a decision on what I'm doing and stuff. So now that you guys are all caught up, basically what happened was after that, I sat down to play Sims, and I literally started my Sims game where my characters, Gideon, Meadow, and their kids, I made them all, I didn't even play the game before all these ideas came to me. So I sat down on my phone. I have this notepad app. As you can see here, I have a lot of text notes, and all these ideas just started coming to me, for the, like, Meadow's side of the story and the dilemma and all that stuff, for what's going on. So I started typing, as you can see there. I don't know how many words that is. And so essentially that gave me the outline for what to do on Meadow's side of things. So all I have to do is take those and implement it into the book. And then I started playing Sims and started working on other books in the series, like planning out Sims to give me ideas for more stories in the series. And so my head's been in that book. So it's been a couple of days. It's gonna take me a while to get my head back in the story. So the thing is, because I've been working on playing Sims, and it's really inspired a whole lot of ideas and growth for my story and the bad guys and like all the overarching series stuff and connections and things, and also that book and the exciting stuff with that story, with all of the stuff with that story, when I finish my work, what I've been doing is playing Sims in the evening and then using that to spark ideas and stuff like that. And I've been having so much fun with it. And so my head is in that story that I'm planning, which I don't know what number that's going to be, but it's definitely way down the line and not connected with Gideon and Meadow's story and the ones to protect at all. Anyway, so my head is like in that story and those ideas and stuff, and I haven't written for several days. I've been trying to schedule out my YouTube videos and social media for October and November because I'm having a surgery on October 8th, so I haven't written, and so it may be difficult for me to get my head back in the story. So I don't know if I'm actually going to even be able to write anything, let alone do this challenge, but that's kind of the start of the challenge. So yeah, and I'm also, because I'm so blocked and I'm not in the story and don't know if I'm going to be able to write or not, and I also get shy writing on camera. Sometimes it makes me have this weird stage fright where I can't write on camera and stuff. So I'm not going to film myself writing, but I will fill you guys in afterwards, and I'll try to get a montage later on if I get into the story or something like that. But for now, I'll just let you know afterwards if my inspiration hits and if I'm able to write in the story and how much it is and all that stuff. But the idea is 7,000 words in 7 days. If I finish it sooner than that, that's great. If I can't complete the challenge, then this will be an epic fail. So let's see if I can write 7,000 words in 7 days. Let's go. So spoiler alerts for the ones to protect. If you guys don't want to know anything about the book, then click away. I'll point to the time here. But here I'm on chapter 10, and these are all of my notes. So I was going to delete them because I wanted to see my word count, because this will be like the 7,000 words will be on top of here. So let's write this down on a piece of paper what is today? I'm starting the challenge on the 24th.
Hey everyone, and welcome.
So I'm starting the challenge on September 24th. So let's turn to that in my, this is what I keep track of. The last time I wrote was the 20th, and I was at 25:30. So we're at 24. That must have been with my notes. So I'm at 9:47. Wait, hold on. Ugh. Today is Wednesday, the 24th. So I'm going to write down here, started 7K in 7 days challenge on 9/24, word count before starting equals 24,947. So that is my word count where I left off chapter 10 in the ones to, oh my gosh, this pen, to protect. Okay, so I started the 7K in 7 days challenge on 9/24, so September 24th. My word count before starting the challenge is 24,947 words, and I left off on chapter 10 in my book, The Ones to Protect. So we'll see if I can write. I haven't written anything yet. I was gonna grab my notes and stuff. So that is all the original notes that I just deleted, which, boom, paste that back in there. So those are the original notes, which again, the dilemma, original notes, new notes. So we're gonna go to, I think I emailed these to myself the other day. That was in my, these notes here. So I'm going to double check the email and then paste those in there and then see what I can come up with. And I'll check in with you guys later. Hiccup in my plan. I'm getting derailed because my mom decided to make boiled hot dogs and I'm eating them as a snack. So I'm actually going to eat, but hey, if you're a writer, you need to fuel yourself somehow. So that's what I'm doing. I am giving myself sustenance before I attempt to get unstuck and hopefully write tonight. But I have until 1 o'clock because my husband's working overtime and it's 11:30. It's not quite 11:30 yet, so I have time. We've got time. Okay, I'm going to eat and enjoy a snack because writers need sustenance too. Enjoy the montage as I write. I did actually speed this up, so this isn't my actual typing speed. stop that clip. Okay, so the first video was 16 minutes. This one was 6 minutes long. And then I was writing before then. It's now 12:27. So when I don't know when I vlogged. I need to check that. So it was like 11. It was 11 something. And then I ate and came in here and got back to work. And then I was actually like flowing really well. So I hit the record button really quickly without trying to mess up my flow. So let's see how much I wrote and then I'll talk about it. Where am I at? Okay. So I'm highlighting what I wrote. Okay, let me highlight it all. So the last line will have kind of a major spoiler. Just warning you guys. Try to avoid it. So I've got this. So that's the last bit. So I'm highlighting this. Okay. So that's everything that I wrote. That is 1,865 words. So let's calculate it. Okay. See, the last time I keep track of the other stuff. So, day 26. So wrote 1,865 in the ones to protect, day 26, and I calculate, okay, the whole book count. I gotta take away, we're gonna cut my notes. Hold on, I have to type the next chapter real quick. Okay, that's actually not gonna be a chapter. I did a scene cut. So, and then that's what I type to format the next bit. So the word count is now 26,809. So 26,809 without the extra notes. So now I'm gonna paste in those notes. Back. Right, so now I need to calculate. All right, hold on a minute. Let me get my calculator out. So we were at, well, we got to start with where we are now. We are at 26,809 minus where I left off, which was 24,947. What am I doing? I wrote 1862. Why is it 1862? Instead of 1865. I highlighted it. I'd written 1865. Oh, the chapter 1 and then the present day, my headings. That's the difference. So it's actually 1862. Okay. Okay, so 1862 is what I wrote. So I am 1862 out of 7,000 words down, which leaves me minus 1862. I've got 5,138 words left to go in the next 6 days. So that has been, also I did want to chat about what I wrote. So without spoilers, so I started off the scene, and once I did write, I did really get into it. So I'm glad I did this, because without this writing challenge, I wasn't going to write tonight. So thanks to Kimmy and this challenge, because I would have skipped writing and none of this would have happened. So it all worked out. God worked it out. So once I started, I got into it, and I've been only from my guy's perspective at this point. And again, I had that dilemma of which two to go with, the original or the new one. I'm going with the new ideas, but either way, regardless of that, I still needed to go to her POV to show what's going on from her side of things. So I hadn't gone, I think I went to her perspective once years ago when I first started the story, and I got stuck and I never went back to her perspective. It was a really short paragraph in the first chapter. But she's at a church function on the reservation. So that was fun. And then because she's on the reservation, first of all, I was like, what are they doing the church event for? And I had to Google church events ideas. Didn't actually spark anything. But I was like, what if they're raising money to fix the church because everything in the reservation's like really poor? I'm trying to bring that out in my story with legit research, not agendas or anything like that. So, okay, so it's a church function. So I had them talk and everything else. And then I had her, because she's got 5 kids. So I wanted her to be like, okay, mom mode, like, where's all my kids at? And she found some of them listening to Granny, her grandmother, tell a story, because that's like a Lakota thing. They tell a lot of oral stories, and like the older people do. And so then my next dilemma, I had to Google Lakota stories that they tell to children. I looked at the Library of Congress, and I was trying to find copyright free ones. And I looked and looked and looked, and it kind of, I was like, okay, I'm getting so caught up in this story, I should just skip over the dialogue and just move on with the scene, but I really wanted to include a story. And so I found this document. If you go up, it's the foreword. It was written by Marie L. McLaughlin. I can't pronounce that name, May 1st, 1913. And just in case I didn't actually, like, I copied and pasted the story, but I just used it as notes to retell the story in my own words. I didn't just put the story in there, and also adding like how Granny would tell it based on Granny's character that I've developed, having her interact with the kids and talk about it and how she would spin the story and like what her purpose in telling the story is. So I did that. I also had to look up what time of the year Dakota gathered corn, because the story is about a woman who's gathering corn back in the day when they used to live on the prairie type thing. So I Googled that because I forgot what I thought it was in the fall, but I didn't know for sure if that's when you harvest corn or not. So I bookmarked that page. And then so I did that, and that scene just came to me so easily. And then just the natural situation that's going on without spoilers, and how Meadow is reacting to that and kind of getting that started. And honestly, I could have kept going because the scene is the events going on are so dramatic right now. It could just keep going and going and going, but it's 12:34. My husband gets home at 1 o'clock, and I wanted to stop there and also kind of finish up the video and stuff. So I actually ended up coming to a stopping point, but there's just so much that's going to happen. All of those ideas that I got when I played Sims the other day, again, I sat down, I loaded the game, and I paused it because your Sims will run around and get into all kinds of trouble if you don't. And I sat there, and all of a sudden I came up with, like, God gave me all of these ideas, even though I didn't actually play the game. It just loaded the screen in, and then I paused it and just started typing on my phone, which, by the way, I did highlight all of those notes I showed you earlier. It was about 600 and some odd words. So, and again, that kind of gives me it was all the story beats of what's going on from her perspective as I've been this whole book. From a certain point, my guy's perspective, like this is Meadow's side of things, which I also realized my labels, I may actually have to make a timeline and do like dates instead of the previous day or the present day or whatever, because I realized this actually isn't the present. This is going back to tell her side of the story. So I'm going to have to fix those labels, but I'm like, that's an editing thing, so I'll worry about that later. So that's everything. This has been day 1 of the writing challenge. So I have 5,000 and some odd words left to go. So let's see if I can get to 7,000 words in 7 days, and I'll check in with you guys next time. Hey guys, so it's day 2 of writing 7,000 words in 7 days, that writing challenge. I'm having fun. So the good news is that number 1, I have all finished my work because of my surgery on October 8th. I scheduled out all of my YouTube videos, 3 a week for the entire month of October, and I scheduled out my social media. So I have actually finally freed up my time, which is crazy because I was working on the Kickstarter and then it ended and I had to catch up on work, and then I had this announcement of the surgery, so I had to get ahead on that stuff. So I finally have my days completely free where I could spend it writing, and that's the good news because I was like not inspired. So like now, because of this challenge, it inspires me to write. Also, last night right before bed, I usually write in my diary. When I finish that, I usually post on social media, and I did, and God gave me a scene idea with Meadow where because I was insecure, like, okay, I don't have Meadow's voice. She's not a 3-dimensional character like the other girls in the series, because I started, like, Meadow's planned personality was the original, and years ago, before I learned this new technique of making my characters more 3-dimensional, like I have been with the other girls in the series. And I was insecure, and I was like, she doesn't have a personality. And then all of a sudden God told, like, it was almost like he told me this directly. Sorry, I had an air bubble. It's almost like he told me this directly, where it was like, she prays. That's what makes her different from the other women, because her voice kind of sounded the same, and like, because she's a Lakota, maybe she has to take some time to just go off into the prairie and be alone with God and seek him before she makes any decisions, before she does anything. And she seeks God's guidance a lot, and I'm also in kind of a David mood, so that kind of fits that vibe. So I wrote this whole scene in my my notes, my handy dandy notepad. So let me scroll to the top here. So it was all this last night, and I was gonna film, but I was squeezed in my bathroom because my husband was in bed, so I was literally just standing there in the bathroom in my night clothes, so it was not appropriate. But I wrote the scene, so I'm going to paste it in there, see how many words that was, kind of rewrite it and edit it and stuff, because I did write it on my phone and stuff. I also have the little puppy, my baby, with me today. Sorry, as I was saying, we're gonna get him settled and then see if I can write some more. I also need to brainstorm how the kids react when they find out Gideon's missing. So we're gonna go over that as well. So yeah, I will check in with you guys in a bit. So I've got the baby with me. He's in his we call it the rat cave because he's a rat terrier. Let me see if I can. He doesn't want to be disturbed, so I'm gonna keep that. It makes it to where I can type around him like this. So this is the scene that I wrote on my phone, pasted in to Google and emailed to me, so I'm gonna copy it and we're gonna paste it in. I've got my character notes. I need to put these more organized because a lot of these were just random ideas that I had as I was playing Sims, and it's all chaotic and everything, and I need to make it a bullet point list so I can easily find like the characters that I need. So we're gonna paste it in. I'm gonna paste it into a new document real quick, and then to see how many words it was, and then I'll paste it into the actual book. So it looks like it was 591 words, so I'm going to paste it into the book and edit it and maybe add a little bit more to it, and then I'll count that as a part of my official word count for today, day 2, even though I did it last night before bed. So also we have 5 kids, and when they find out that their dad is missing, Theo is 11 and he is like a young boy. He's upset. Oops, he was laying on the space bar, so it started going crazy. Are you okay? What is going on here? Okay, he had to get settled again. You can see his ear. Anyways, so Theo is 11 and he loves horses and the ranch life and like the country life, and he wants to be like a cowboy and like a Lakota warrior, and he wants to be just like his dad. Ava is 8. She's a younger sister, and she wants to compete with Theo, and she thinks that she can do everything Theo can, and it's like she has to do everything that Theo can but better, and has to beat Theo at everything even though she can't. So we got her, then we got Sophie, who is 6, and she's like a quiet girl who loves to read, and she loves to like learn and embrace the Lakota culture as a little girl, like the hoop dances and stuff like that. And then we've got Asher, who is like, see, I made them different ages and then I changed their ages later, so I don't remember, but he's like the older toddler, like 2 years old, like he's just now walking and talking and stuff. And so he's wild and rambunctious. And then you have Nora, the youngest toddler, who is like 1 year and 3 months or something like that, and she is, I think, probably silly and goofy. I can't remember what personality I gave her. So my thinking is that Theo would try to step up and be like Gideon, and he would be like, what would dad do, you know, and like doing chores and trying to be helpful and comfort the siblings and stuff and kind of step up. Ava, I had this idea where she runs away to try to find Gideon. It makes everything worse. Sophie would probably resort more inward into herself and be even more quiet and reserved and scared. And then Asher and Nora, as the toddlers, would probably throw fits and call out for daddy and stuff like that, not quite understanding what's going on, just that daddy's not there. So that's my ideas and plans on top of the investigative stuff, and then bringing in the Navy SEAL team, which is going to be fun. So I was thinking that I want to reread, because I wrote the original version of this, and then when I made this the new like part of the Navy SEAL series, I needed to, because one book leads to another and another, kind of like where the next character in a book is a side character in the previous one. That's typical with romances. And so I needed to kind of add Gideon naturally into book 4 because his is a book 5. And so with that, I was able to start off, I added scenes to the beginning of Gideon's story in book 5, tying up loose ends from book 4 and like showing Gideon's perspective for some of the aftermath of book 4. And that led into the old scenes that I had with Gideon that tied into his story. So I'm thinking I need to go reread those new scenes because it was like the aftermath and showing Gideon interacting with the Navy SEAL team, and I can figure out who potentially could be brought in for some of this. So I may be doing that as well. But it's 3:38. I got a really late start today, so I need to get to work and stop talking. And I'm not going to get a montage or anything. I'm just going to try to, you can see his little earsies. I'm just going to try to get writing done, get established and all that stuff. So I'm going to start with the new scene and see what happens, and then go from there. So I will check in with you guys later. Guys, just checking in. He's awake. So we had to take the dogs out for a potty break. So I did reread the stuff from the beginning. I finalized the new scene, which was, again, the original version was 591 words, and the new one is like 700 and something. So I will log that at the end of the night when I know what I've written for today. It'll be part of it. So I read the new stuff, so I know kind of a general sense of what's going to happen next. I'm really, really drowsy. I don't know why, but I woke up so tired this morning. And also I'm used to, like, when my sister's at work and I'm watching the baby, I'm used to doing other types of work like YouTube video editing, working on social media, making posts, sometimes editing, like everything else but writing. I usually save my writing for the evening when I'm alone, it's quiet, I don't have any distractions, it's just awkward. So I was gonna sit on the couch and relax because I only have less than an hour till around the time my sister's gonna come home, and I gotta FEED them and stuff like that anyway. So I was going to sit on the couch and read, but I was like, I want to still be productive and work on the story, and so I'm going to play Sims. Sounds like I'm just taking a break and procrastinating and playing video games, but I'm not kidding you. Like, when I play Sims and the Sims do random things, it sparks completely different ideas for the story, and it really genuinely helps my creativity. And I'm not just taking the Sims game and then copying and pasting it and using anything from the Sims game at all. It's literally just the way my brain works. For some reason, when I have other things, my brain tends to, like, take those ideas and run completely different direction with them. Like, if I would talk with my husband for story ideas, I would take what he tells me and then go a completely different direction, but that's the spark that ignites my creative juices, if you will. And that's what I do with Sims. And not all the time, not every story, but these stories are set in the modern time, so the Sims fits it really well. And it'll feel like I'm being productive, even though I'm not actually able to write right now, just because, again, I'm really distracted and not used to writing at this time and stuff like that. I need quiet, I need peace, and I need to be alone and at nighttime, and it's just weird. I just can't, for some reason, get into the zone today. I did a little bit, and I really enjoyed the scene, but to me, it was editing, not writing. Which, again, I'm used to doing at this time. I'm used to editing, not writing, two different mindsets. But instead of just sitting there reading, which would be time off, at least playing Sims on these characters, I would be sparking ideas, filling my creative juices, and trying to think of more ideas for the story so it feels more productive. So I'm not going to vlog or film or anything. I am so tired. I don't know what it is. I am so drowsy. So hopefully I can wake up a little bit later after dinner and stuff. And I'm going to hold this little guy and we will play Sims. So I will check in with you guys later. I had to get a little tiny clip. He's been going crazy trying to lick my arm. So we're loading in Sims. My dog is there, and he's just lick. So my husky over there. So yeah, again, gonna use it to spark ideas. So I've got my phone here I'll take notes with. But guys, so it's 7:27 and I'm gonna try to get back to writing and actually write. As I edited what I wrote last night. It wasn't actually writing. I'm still tired, still drowsy, and for some reason my left wrist is aching like really bad. Like, not even the wrist compressions are helping. So I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to type. It probably won't be like a whole lot, considering I'm also tired. But I'm gonna try to see what I can do and write a little bit, at least a scene. Anything's, better than nothing. I did actually do some math earlier, and with, it was like, I keep forgetting. How much do I have left to go? Okay, hold on, I gotta flip this over again. 1862 is how much I wrote yesterday. I'm not counting everything that I already wrote. So 7,000 minus 1862. I have 5,138 words left to go, and I'm on day 2, which means there's technically, including tonight, 6 days left. So I'm gonna divide that by 6. that means I have to write at least 856 words every night in order to hit 7,000 words by the 7th day. So the scene that I wrote earlier was like 700 and something. And I didn't write it earlier. I wrote 591 words of it last night. I edited it and it was like 700 and some odd words, which means I only have a couple hundred words left to go, thanks to last night's inspiration, which may save me on a night when I'm tired and when my wrist is hurting, but we'll see. It's honestly hot. I need to get my desk fan going because I can't write in these conditions. So yeah, I'm just going to try to write and see if we can do, I've noticed that with like investigation stuff, a lot of people are talking and that dialogue tends to push word count a little bit more. So if you're one of those people that struggle to hit a certain word count, or like you're writing and it's like it feels like your writing's really short scenes and you want to try to lengthen them a little bit, one trick you can do is dialogue. Have characters chat and just let them talk. Pages and pages and pages of talk, and I promise you it'll get your word count up and it'll surprise you, especially if you get immersed into the conversation and you're like, you don't realize how much you wrote because they just talked so much and it felt natural, and it'll surprise you. So anyways, I gotta stop procrastinating by chatting with you guys. So yeah, I'll check in with you guys later. Enjoy this montage as I typed and wrote. I'm gonna start off my normal speed so you guys can see and hear how my normal typing is, and then I'll speed it up with the montage. So enjoy. Character images from Sims so I can describe them. I don't know what the last thing you saw was because I stopped recording. So it's been 17 minutes. So I've been typing for that long. I haven't come to a stopping point per se because the scene could just keep going and going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. But I need a small break and my wrist is killing me. So I'm going to take a break, relax, rest my wrist. I mean, not relax, and take a break. I don't know why it's like my wrist and then it's shooting into my shoulder. So I'm going to take a break, get a drink, and then see if I want to stop there or come back to this after my break, because I'm hurting really bad. My shoulder and my wrist are just killing me and the typing is not helping, but I'm really inspired. So like at first I was kind of like tired, but the more I typed, the more I got into it and the more the scene's coming to me, and I don't want to stop while the inspiration is there, because you know, as a writer, you know, you got to write when you're inspired. So I will check in with you guys later, but I wanted to get at least a little bit of a montage, so the rest I'll probably do off camera, but that kind of gives you the gist of what I'm doing. If you saw me go into other documents, I was checking my notes for the characters because I couldn't remember. I have trouble remembering a few character names and their appearances and stuff, which is why I also had to pull up some of their pictures that I took of their Sims characters, just as a reference for their appearance, which helped. So that's what I was going back and forth on, but I didn't have to do any research. I didn't have to do anything, so I've been offline essentially, which is nice because I can just go with the flow. But anyways, I will check in with you guys later. Also, sorry for the sound of my fan. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but it's hot. So anyways, I'll check in with you guys later. Hey guys, so we got a lot to calculate. I took a break, gave my wrist a rest and my shoulder a rest, got back to writing, and I finished that scene and chapter, came to an actual stopping point, even though everything's continuing. It's crazy. So we got a lot to calculate. So real quick, I wanted to highlight what I just wrote now to figure out what I actually wrote like today, and then I'm going to add that for the total with what I wrote last night and edited earlier. I just was curious to see what I wrote in this particular writing session. So looks like it was 1475. So if we scroll, it was all of that. So those are my notes. I'll have to take those away to get the totals. With all my notes though, the book is over 30,000, which is a huge accomplishment, but it'll be less than that with all the notes. So I wanted to, okay, so real quick, 1475, wrote 1475 plus, okay, and then this was the scene that I wrote earlier that I edited. That's 717, so plus 717 equals, and we're gonna start from that scene and go to the end of the chapter, which is there. 2192 words in the ones to protect. Oh my gosh, today's Thursday, not Friday. Oh my gosh, okay, I gotta rewrite that here. 1475 plus 717 equals 2192 words in the ones to protect. At least I like this notebook because it has like all the days except for the weekends have really long ones, so I still have space. It's day 27 of writing this book. I hate this one. Day 27. Day 2 of 7K. Boy, my handwriting sucks. K in 7 days challenge. And the whole total. So I have to delete these notes real quick, so I'm going to cut those notes and then actually scratch that. We're going to uncut those notes. I gotta type in the next chapter heading. Okay, so I started the chapter heading for chapter 12, the notes underneath there, so I've got to grab, cut, and that gives us 2918, so we're 1,000 away from 30K. So this 7K in 7 days challenge is gonna get me to hopefully get me, well actually yeah, because another 1,000 words is going to get me to 30K, which is a huge accomplishment. So we're at 2918, which means that all of those notes are just shy of 1,000 words, which is like crazy. So we're going to undo that, which puts them back in there. Boom. So yeah, I'm gonna do all the saving. Oh, real quick. So I was at, hold on. Got some more calculation. I forgot to press play again. So we were at 1862 out of 7K. So we're going to take the 1862 from yesterday plus the 21. I haven't been watching. Okay, sorry. We're going to take the 1862 from yesterday plus the 2192 from today. That's 4,054. So we're at 4,054 out of 7,000. So we're at 4,054 out of 7. So now we're gonna do 7,000 minus 4,054. Was it 54? Yeah. And that means I have 2,946 words left in the challenge to go, and I have 5 days to do it. And today's word count was 21, and that's 29, so it's possible, but I'm gonna push myself. I'm just writing while I'm inspired to write, so I'm taking advantage of the fact that this challenge pushed my inspiration. Again, shout out to Kimmy, because without this challenge, I would have not written any of this. Like, I would have stayed stuck, and now it just, something about the challenge just opened up all these new avenues, and now I know what I'm doing. For some reason, it just inspired me, so that's crazy. So this has been day 2 of the 7K in 7 days challenge. And so far, day 2 has been super, super great. Pushing through the wrist pain and the tiredness and exhaustion and everything. So I'm excited, and I will check in with you guys next time. Guys, sorry about the sound of the air conditioner and my fan, but it's hot. So it is September 26th. I think I did my math wrong. Hold on. Anyway, so today is day 3 of the writing 7,000 words in 7 days, and it's Friday the 26th of September. So first of all, I had to organize all of my character notes because I had them in 2 different things, and they were all scattered, and I could hardly find like the names and the appearances that I needed when I needed them. I've got 2,543 words of notes just that I've accumulated from those, so they're all together, and I prefer to have my character notes in a bullet point list. So like this, if you look, I'll have like Gideon and then all of the facts about him, and then the next character and all of the facts, and I do that. And then some characters, like you saw at the bottom, don't have very many facts, and some of these are repeated. So like here at the bottom, it's just the basics. So like I said, haven't organized it yet, but at least it's in the bullet point list, so it should be easier to find things. Because I also had like, some of them had character notes and then had like notes in a scene that I already wrote. So I got that out of the way. It's 7:35. So here's the thing. Tomorrow we're going to the Renaissance Festival, which is a 3-hour drive away from us. It's in Kansas City, Kansas. So we've got a long drive. So we're getting up really early. So tonight I'm going to bed early. And because of that, I have to eat dinner even earlier, because I have to eat dinner and have hours before I go to bed. Otherwise I'll have acid trouble, which is not a fun thing. So essentially I have to stop and eat around 9 or 9:30, and it's 7:36 now, so I only have like 2 hours of time. So I'm gonna try to get in, write a quick scene, and go for it. But before I did that, because tomorrow we're getting up early, we're gonna be gone all day, we're gonna get home late, and then we're gonna have a guest over. The cat's being bad. We're gonna have a guest over. I won't actually be able to have my writing time, I don't think, and I'll probably be too tired to anyway. So I'm skipping tomorrow, which means today is day 3 of the challenge. Tomorrow would have been day 4. So I'm skipping day 4 of the challenge, which leaves me day 5, 6, and 7. And well, actually, wait, yeah, because today's day 3. So I calculated that leaves me, see, today is day 3, so that's 1, and then day 5, day 6, and day 7, so it leaves me 4 days to complete the challenge. So I took what I have left to go, which is 2,946 words. Not that much on any given night. I probably could knock that out pretty quickly. To write the minimum, I have to do at least 736 and a half words, so 737 words. I have to write, I'm gonna jog that down, 737. I have to write at least 737 words per day to finish it if I skip tomorrow. So I'm doing this to essentially give myself tomorrow off. If I included tomorrow, so 2, 9, 4, 6, divided by 5, that will leave me 5 days left, because today's day 3, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, hold on a minute, oh, counting day 3, so that would be 5 days. It'd only be 589 words, so 500, because that's 0.2, so 590 words. But I'm probably not going to write tomorrow, so I'm trying to do ahead to give myself tomorrow off. So with that being said, I played Sims most of the night. Last night I did read a little bit before bed, about an hour before bed, but I played for hours and hours and hours, and I have this huge thing outlined because my characters went away from me. It gave me a few more suspense plot lines. It gave me a lot of drama with the kids. So I was able to come up with tons of more ideas. So now I really like the direction it's going. And honestly, I may not even need to do the new idea with the cruise, because I may have enough content to keep it at the reservation, which is still a unique new setting that's not been used in the other books in the series before. So I'm honestly, if we stick in the reservation and I have enough content to kind of not really carry the book, because I don't want it to be filler, but if I can come up with suspense plot lines here, I don't need to use the cruise. I can save that for another character or couple, and while still making it, you know, intense and suspenseful. And I figured I just need to get the story out. I told my husband, like, if I'm writing pages and pages and chapters and chapters and chapters of drama with the family and the kids, I can always edit it for pacing and scenes and all that stuff later. So that'll be like a later problem. So yeah, with that being in mind, I still have the investigation to do, which I think is probably going to be my next scene, is just a conversation on the phone or in person with somebody important from the rest of the series, kind of breaking down what's going on, and then the investigation stuff potentially. So yeah, I think that's everything. I am tired. I am so tired and drowsy, and we've been cleaning the house all day, and I am basically wiped out. So I don't want to write tonight, not because I'm inspired, because believe me, I am so inspired. I am so inspired for this. I'm just so tired. I don't want to sit here. I don't want to work tonight. I just want to sit on the couch and relax, whether that's reading, or probably reading because my book was getting good too, or playing Sims and brainstorming some more, or even using that. I was thinking about some more ideas for the rest of the series. So given that I'm excited for tomorrow with the Renaissance Festival. We have outfits, so we're dressing up this year, so that's gonna be exciting. I'll try to do videos for that. I'm babbling at this point, so either I need to write and try to get into it or not. And honestly, the other day on the phone, I was able to write a 500 word scene just on the phone itself, so who knows, maybe getting in a more relaxed environment would help me. I don't know. I may just kind of look and see what I've got and go from there and let you guys know. I'm only 2,000 words away. 2946. I'm only 2946 words away from meeting 7K in 7 days. And maybe if I skip tonight and tomorrow, I could make it up. But I don't want a chance that I may not, because then I would have to do, let's see, let's do 29. I'm procrastinating some more. 2946. Say I skip today and I skip tomorrow. Okay, it's Friday and Saturday, so I would write Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday would be the final day of the video challenge and video. So that's 3 days. So divided by 2946 divided by 3, I would have to write 982. So about 1,000 words each session, Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, which is doable. I just don't want to take any chances if I can keep from it. And then if I skip tonight, if I skip tomorrow, after going to the Renaissance Festival tomorrow, it's going to be really hard getting back into it on Sunday. Also considering the fact that Saturday, I'm going to have to send out my newsletters somehow tomorrow. So, because I have book promos to send out. So that's another thing to worry about. I'm so tired. I don't want to write. And again, it's just not the story. I'm so inspired and motivated and creative and fun, and like I'm having so much fun with this story. I really like this challenge. Something about it just ignited my creativity. I'm having so much fun. Sometimes the act of sitting here and pushing keys to get the story out of my head onto the page is the difficult part, and I'm sure all of you writers can relate to that. It's just like the actual act of writing is sometimes fun, and sometimes I just don't want to do it. And it's like, well, maybe I could just dictate the scene, but I'm too tired for that. So I don't know. I'm babbling. I will stop and I will check in with you guys later and let you know what happens. I also forgot to tell you guys, while I was playing Sims, I opened up my handy dandy notebook on my phone. And these are how many notes that I've taken. So I'll scroll to show you. And I got to email all of the, we're still going. Okay, so I did that all last night. So I'm going to email them to myself and paste it into a new document just to see how much it is by itself. So I got to do that real quick too. So I forgot to tell you. So I will do that and let you guys know what it is. Okay, so I just pasted. As you can see here, that's what it looks like, pasted in directly from my phone notes. As you can see, I've got lots of typos because it's on my phone. 1,692 words. Those are just like outline stuff, not actual scenes that I wrote, so it doesn't count toward the challenge, unfortunately. But that does give me my notes, so I can paste that in to the book, so I can just go off of that, and it should make my job easier. It should. So now I will check in with you guys later. So I'm getting tripped up over the stupidest thing, other than being tired. That's totally relevant. So I have characters from the Navy SEAL team coming to help with the investigation, and they're in a particular city that I have not named. So in books 3, and it's a little bit in book 4, I didn't name what city, I didn't name what state they were in. I kept it vague, but like still gave details about the city and stuff. Like I described it, but I didn't actually say what city it was. I do that with my modern day stories where it's kind of just made up, but like I never give you specifics. But when Gideon was coming back from there, he drove, and I said it was a 14-hour drive. So now I have to figure out how long a flight would be, but I don't remember what city I used as my example. Because basically in my head I would imagine, oh okay, they're coming from New York City, so I would Google how long does it take to drive from New York to Montana or whatever, and I would use that, okay, whatever time it is, and then that would be my example. So I literally went all the way down in my search history. I looked at my writing notebook, and when I started writing it again, it was August 15th. So I was looking at my search history for August 15th, which is crazy that I could go through all of this, by the way, and I was looking up what I googled then to try to figure out if I could find the example or whatever, and I was thinking about accents. Like what accent he would have and stuff. I was more concerned about that, which is interesting, but it's not what I need. So essentially I don't know how long it would take the characters to fly out there, and so I don't know if I need to do filler or if I just need to skip to when they're there and then do all of the family scenes afterwards or what. And because of that, I am like, it's just too much for me to do with my tired brain tonight, if that makes sense. Like if I had no dilemma, I could just write something random, which I still technically could do and just figure it out later. Just have the kids do something silly. But it's like, I don't know what city I had them coming from, so I don't know how long a flight would take to get there. So I don't know how long it's going to take the other characters to arrive. And then I have other characters that are supposed to be showing up first, and I just... if I can't even write tonight and we cleaned and like prepared for tomorrow, I'm definitely not going to write tomorrow, especially with having a guest over. So that means that I'm skipping 2 nights, and that leaves me Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So it leaves me 3 days to write the last 2,900 and some odd words, which again is doable. Even at minimum, that would be just 1,000 words per session ish, 980 something. But if I'm stuck now, I'm going to be stuck then, and it's going to be a couple of days of not writing, so that's going to be weird. And then coming back to this with a problem like this, and then having the real life stuff of the Renaissance Festival, my head's just not going to be in it. But I'm just not feeling it, and sometimes that's God telling me that it's not the right time to write the scene, because, like, you know, got to follow his inspiration. So here's my thinking. I don't write here at my desk tonight, and I decide to take tonight off, and at worst case scenario, I skip tonight, I skip tomorrow, and then Sunday I gotta buckle down and figure this problem out. Okay? And I could even Google it and use an example from it and just figure that out when I'm on the couch, so that way it's like I've kind of half solved it, at least made it more solvable on Sunday. Okay? And potentially, while I'm sitting on the couch, I could write a scene to, like, on my phone like I did the other night. That way, all I have to do Sunday is come in, edit it, and that kind of makes up for Fridays and Saturdays scene, and hopefully it can be over 1,000 words and kind of cover me. Even if it's badly written, all I'd be doing is editing it and potentially writing more, and like by editing it, that would inspire me and kind of make it easier. So essentially I'm making it easier for myself on Sunday, and potentially just writing on my phone and it still counts. I just wouldn't log it until Sunday, potentially. So that's, I think, what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm not going to write tonight because I'm sitting here with the document open, and I was on Google on my search history, but I'm just sitting here staring at the document with all of my notes. I pasted all of my notes in, and even what I came up with yesterday with the kids, it's a bunch of kids stuff, which is fine. I don't want the book to lose its point, but it's also kind of important, and it makes it different from my other books, and that's an editing issue, because if we're reading it and it works, because when I'm writing, sometimes I blank out, and sometimes I get weird where if I'm writing, I will think that something is horrible and that it sucks and that my writing is terrible, and then go back and read it later and it's fine, or it just needs minor adjustments and stuff. So what I think is like, oh, this scene is going to be terrible and I can't just write a bunch of kid stuff. It may actually work with the plot, and that's an editing issue, not a writing issue. I just need to get the story out, and then we can always delete scenes, rewrite them, take them away, add more, whatever it is we need to do to fix the story. That's an editing issue. I just need to write the dang book. I just need to have the investigator show up. I'm staring at this blank page and I just can't, it's just not there. And I'm just, for some reason, the idea of going to the couch, sitting on my phone and writing it on my phone sounds more appealing. So sometimes you just got to change things up. You just got to do something different, you know? I got to save the new character list, notes list, because it's like the master character list. So I'm going to do that, and I will check in with you guys the next time that I write when it's relevant. Guys, sorry about the bad lighting, but I actually had gotten myself set up on the couch, okay? And I actually played Sim. Like, I opened up the game Sims. I hadn't actually played because it, like, loads in and then you have to, like, load the game, but it's on the main menu. I also took my light, like, the plug-in that my light plugs into, because I use it for my fan, so check this out. Okay. Not even joking. I got myself all set up here on the couch. As you can see here, I got my book, my drinks, my phone, I have my fan, my plug-in, and I have my little stand in case I wanted to watch something on TV. So I had everything I needed. I sat down on the couch. I loaded Sims. I just haven't loaded any specific player, like family on it. And I am really dizzy and lightheaded. It happens sometimes if I stand up too fast. Hopefully I don't pass out. Okay, I'm going to try to make it to my desk because this is really scary when this happens. So I sat down and I was thinking about the problem, and I was like, okay, well, if it's a 14-hour drive, that's about 800 to 900 miles away, which would be, instead of like being specific on a city, because I'm never specific, it's just like a 14-hour drive is approximately a 2-hour flight from anywhere in the big city in the Midwest. So I don't have to be specific. And so I was like, I got 2 hours, and I was like, the other people, because Gideon works for a company that's, not company, but a unit that's like the FBI, but made up basically. And so he has other members of his unit that are going to be in the state driving to go meet with Meadows. So I decided to jump a little bit where those people come in. And I already have 3 characters that I made in Sims. They're very three-dimensional because I really got in depth with them, to the point where I actually want to almost write short stories about them. So I had this whole idea. So I was like, okay, I'm going to leave everything on the couch and come sit down and write. And that's been 40 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago. It's been a while ago, because it's now 9 o'clock. And I last vlogged, so however long ago that's been, we'll say an hour. And I wrote. So that's what I was that's the whole point. So I'm pretty pumped. So let's highlight it. Okay, so I came to a decent stopping point, so that's everything that I wrote. Looks like it's 1693, which is super exciting, and I'm sorry that the lighting on this side is going to be horrible. I wrote 1693 in the ones to protect. This is day 28 of writing in the book altogether. Day 3 of 7K in 7 days challenge, and I'll get the whole book word count in just a second. So we're gonna take 4,054, which was our total from day 2, and we're gonna add the 1693 to that. So plus 1693 is 5,747. So 5,747 out of 7,000 words in the challenge. So I gotta go down to the bottom, and I have so many notes, so we gotta take that all out because all of these notes are going to and I'm not gonna do a chapter cut because this may actually be a scene cut. So it looks like we've reached 30,000, yay! Because we were at 29. So we've reached 30,707. We've reached 30K in the book officially, yay! We're halfway to 50, and that means we're only 20K away from 50K, which is novel size. So as long as I get it there, then I can focus on it just being about telling the story, which I'm kind of doing anyway. And because we're at 5,747, so I wanted, let me put my notes back. Boom, boom, they're back. So real quick, okay, I want to 747, so 7,000 minus 5, 747. So we got 1,253 words to go. So, which hopefully I can knock that down in a session, since it's been 1,600 and then 1,400, so it's like 1,200. And I have Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to get that done and complete the challenge, which is exciting and a relief. And again, I had sat down to play Sims and chill out, and that idea came to me, and I was like, you know what, I might as well write this while it's in me, so while it's in my head. So I'm gonna save this to my documents, and that's been day 3 of the writing 7K in 7 days challenge, and I will check in with you guys next time. Sometimes just takes a different location and a different idea. Just because you don't feel like writing 1 minute doesn't mean that you won't get inspired 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later, an hour later, 2 or 3 or 4 hours later. Just don't give. I was starting to just get frustrated and give up, and just give up for the night in a couple of days and just think that it was a disaster. So don't give up, because you just never know. So anyways, I will check in with you guys next time. Guys, so I'm feeding my dogs, and I don't know what day of the challenge this is because I haven't calculated everything over the crazy weekend that we had. I'm waiting on my dogs to finish eating because my husky will eat my other dog's food if I don't watch him. But I figured I'd be productive and tell you guys what's going on. So I didn't write over the weekend, and I actually, like, Sunday I would have written, yesterday I would have written, but I scheduled out, I sent out both my newsletters because I didn't do that Saturday and I needed to do it, not skip it a whole week. And then I also wrote out and scheduled all my newsletters for both newsletters that I have for the entire month of October. So that was 8 in total. It was a lot. So by the time I got finished with that, answering Facebook messages and emails, I didn't have time. But I've still been playing on Sims, which is keeping my head in the story. And I know it may seem weird, and I don't know if I've ever explained this, but when I make the characters or play the story out in Sims, I don't actually use anything from Sims in the writing or in the story. It's just playing Sims with the randomized events, the characters, the design of how they look, like just in general, and the houses and stuff helps me visualize it and describe it better. It gives me completely different ideas that my brain just, it sparks creativity, especially if I'm blocked or if I can't talk to my husband about ideas. Come on outside, Echo. That is the way I have to block him from eating the other dog's food. So it just sparks completely different ideas. And again, I don't actually use anything from Sims in my story writing. It's just a creativity spark kind of tool, if that makes sense. And visually it helps me picture the characters, and based on how they're described, how they, I can make them in Sims, and then I can actually picture them better. And if I don't do that, I've noticed in the writing, I don't bother describing the characters, and it reminds me to describe them. And I also because Sims traits are very simplistic, but it sparks a bigger personality that then I can use with the new techniques that I've learned with this series to make all of the characters, even the side characters, 3-dimensional. And so today I sat down with Bash and I was going to write, but I had some new characters coming in, and I was like, I haven't made made them in Sims yet. So I sat down to make them in Sims, and I'm glad, and I was like, maybe I should write instead of play Sims. But it actually was a good idea, because when I was making them in Sims, I started writing down all of the details on my phone, and that sparked completely new ideas for these side characters that are coming in, these new characters. And it's probably, some of the details may not make it into the story, but the fact that I know that means that can bleed into when I write them, and it makes them so three-dimensional, even the side characters. So I know what I'm doing. I have extra scenes that I want to add before the scenes that I've already written, like the last time that I wrote. So I may start a new document and write them and just kind of put them in the story where they belong. So, because I had some other ideas, and I want to do that, and then those, and I've also been brainstorming outside of Sims. I would have been getting, like, laying in bed trying to fall asleep, actually, is when it's been happening, and then I would get my alarm phone, email it to myself, and then go from there. I'm building the investigation, so I have a bunch of red herrings, because all mysteries and investigations need the red herrings. I have several different explanations. I have the twists. I have like the investigation phases and how they find things out. So I feel like the story's coming together, and it's actually a mix of the old and the new. And I'm not doing the cruise, I don't think, but it's still like new ideas, new series, like the new series style of ideas and things, and the new ideas, but like mixed with the old, and like it's working so well. But I don't think I'm gonna need to do the cruise, because I think all of this is gonna carry me through to the end. So I'm gonna let my dogs out, and I'll probably not write until tonight after my sister and I split off, because she's supposed to be coming on her way home soon, and I don't want to have to stop in the middle of a scene. And it's also like I can work with my puppy and I can edit with my puppy. Writing is still very much like I can do it, but I work best if it's in the evening and I'm just me and alone and quiet, peace and quiet, that sort of thing. And he's not loud, but it's just I have to type over him, and sometimes the way that he lays is just awkward. So it'd just be better if I wrote tonight and just waited. I've got it all in my head, and I'm gonna keep continuing to like keep it in my head and stuff. So also I want to say the ones to protect, I think this is the first time. Here, come on out, Bri. Okay, you go in, you go out. Okay, I want to say, I think, yeah, okay, anyways. So the ones to protect, the exciting thing that I'm finding out is that this is the first story set in a contemporary, I would say first story period, but first story especially set in a contemporary setting, that I have actually built so enough characters that I'm pretty sure I have the town. It's a reservation. I'm pretty sure I have the town built, so like all of the people, the jobs, like who works at what place, and like it's the first time that the town feels alive because of all the members in it, so that's exciting too. Hey guys, it's me again. So I reread what I last wrote. I figured out a way to, because I was getting stuck on the fact that what I was going to write was going to have to be above that scene, and trying to mess everything up and changing a few details, because like I didn't know who the pastor was when I first wrote the scene, and I mentioned the pastor half a dozen times way earlier. So I finally got in gear, fixed and like introduced him and added those details up there, figured out a way to have this new scene idea happen chronologically after what I wrote, and then I finally got set down in gear and started writing. It took me a bit to start, like to get to that point to sit down and actually start writing, but once I did, I got into it. So we've got a lot to calculate and figure out here, so let's get started. So first thing, Friday was the last time that I wrote. That was day 3 of the challenge. So this was day 4 of the challenge, day 5 of the challenge. So today is day 6 of the challenge, and day 28 of writing the book, which is convenient because it's starting October. So I'm going to have to really keep track of the numbers here. So day 29 and day 4, 5. So day 6, day 29 and day 26. I think. I'm already second guessing myself. How did I forget that quickly? Oh my gosh. Day 20. See, I said 26. 29. 29. 4, 5. Okay, it's day 6 and 29. 6 and 29. 6 and 29. We're going to do 6 and 29 down here just so I can remember. Okay. I already highlighted everything that I wrote where I left off. So it's this bit here. Introducing characters and having dialogue. So that is 1,645. So 1,645 words in the ones to protect. I can't write. And I just want to double check. I think it's 29. Yeah, day 28. So day 29. What else do I put there? Okay, day 4, 5. So day 6 of the 7K in 7 days challenge. And the whole book. Okay. Yeah, I want to show you guys, these are all the notes that I have been adding to. That is 2,702 words is just the notes. So we are going to cut those and get the total. We're at 32,371 words for the whole book. So 32,371, which our last one was 30. So we've added about 2,000 words. So that's exciting. Not sure how that works when I only added... See, we were 3707 and we added 1645. I feel like the math isn't working, but that's fine. And we were 5747. Okay, let me add those notes back. So, okay, 5,000 on the challenge, 747. So 747 plus the 1645 that I just wrote, 1645 equals 7,392. So 7,392 out of the 7,000 words. So there you have it. I have written 7,000 words in 7 days, completed it on day 6 of day 7. That was by the skin of my teeth because I had to skip the whole weekend. So, because I wasn't expecting to skip Sunday. So, but then again, I was expecting to skip Friday. So it kind of evened out, I guess. So I'm excited. The important part of this challenge is the fact that this challenge like sparked my inspiration and creativity and got me unstuck, because I kid you not, I would still be stuck and wouldn't have written all of this and gotten inspired and figured out more of like Meadow's POV and how to handle and do her side of things and investigate and put the case together and all of that stuff without this challenge. So that's been the huge part of this challenge. So I'm very excited about this. I'm gonna put my phone down now. I don't know why I was holding it up so high. That was ridiculous. So I'm very excited, very inspired. For some reason today I have been extra sore. Well, it started with the Renaissance Festival on Saturday. I wasn't sore yesterday, but I didn't write yesterday. And so today when I was even before I was writing, my right wrist was hurting really bad. And so now that I'm done writing, my right wrist, my shoulder, and my side for some reason are hurting really bad. But I'm into the book and I'm at 32,000 words, so we will see what happens. And I've figured out how to handle the dilemma that I started off this challenge with, which was new ideas, old ideas, either or. And in I found a way to blend them, not do the cruise, keep the setting here at the reservation and the family and all of the stuff. So this has been super exciting and super fun. Did you guys do the challenge? If so, how did it go for you? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and everything. And if you liked this video and this challenge, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you liked this writing challenge video, then check out Kimmy K. She's the one who started this challenge. So I encourage you to go watch her video that she did. I'll have a link in the description below and as a card as the end screen if I can do it. And also check out one of my other challenges that I did where I wrote a story in 30 seconds. That was also a fun challenge, so I'll have both of those here, but please go check out Kimmy's video. It's so fun, and you'll be interested to see what she did in the challenge and how she did, and get her perspective on things, so check it out. You don't want to miss it.